Hey, so how's it going? Whoever ends up maybe listening, it's me, Ron. I'm just sitting here by the fire, and I've been considering thinking about things for a while, but I figured I'd do some out loud just to share. It's the I figured the title would be a little catchy and leave it open maybe for me to go wherever with this. But the comment, let me start there, because for me, this whole kind of my old consciousness expanding, waking up to reality, so to speak, it started with in a big way with the comet passing by a couple and a half years ago or so, whatever it was, a green comet. So I've been thinking about that and considering that with this comet, this one coming by in 3 days, 3 days from now. 3 days from now, the 8th being the 11th. And this being the month it is, and this the month where so many bad things seem to happen or have happened, and like it has been programmed to happen, it seems. I just don't. Well, I don't get the impossibilities of the entire deception of this reality as it is, but anyway, I was wondering about this comet because at the time, a couple and a half years ago or so, when the comet passed, and I saw the atmosphere clear, and I caught the images of it that I caught on the phone, and then saw outside in person what it looked like in person. Didn't mean to say that word, but with my own eyes, looking at the sky and how blue it was, and for a good couple days. Anyway, it seemed to me that that was linked energetically to this shift in my own consciousness and energy, or something to that effect. And at the same time, it had a massive effect here, in another energetic way uh, you know, against the negative energy that had kind of taken hold of the consciousness and suppressed the consciousness and feeling of life here. It's what it seemed to me. Well, now, after watching for these couple and a half years and not seeing what I felt inside spread everywhere throughout others inside them, not to the point it felt like within me, because if it did, everything would be fixed right now, because everything would have been realized by now, gotten over, healed, rectified, and moved past. It hasn't happened. Things have only actually gotten more divided since, somehow. While in others, in some, the clarity of this reality has become more and more and more clear and apparent, to the point to where they can speak and see and feel truth. The magic of that, and the magic of that truth that comes out in language when it comes from the spirit, from the heart, from the soul, that has now found that place in truth. It's magical and it's within everyone. More and more are finding it, except more and more are also being further divided from it, because they're being further and further divided within themselves. So I wonder in a few days from now, when this one comes even closer, will this have the desired effect, so to speak, if it is that effect of raising the awareness and consciousness and energy of life resonating here? Will it have that effect to raise the consciousness and the resonance and feeling within life here on a scale massive enough for the deception to become so painfully obvious to all the ones that have yet to see it, that are still living it, that are still living, eating, breathing that deception day in and day out in a repetitive cycle pattern? Will this be it? Or I wonder, with all of the dark things and with all of the with all the dark spells and spell casters of this reality and the programming of this reality with that dark magic of driving the consciousness in folk to be in fear, while the programming is then reinforced in the real world, in real life, by real technology and real folk that get very fake paychecks to do very real harm to make things happen. Makes me wonder, is it something along some kind of other lines where I used to look at movies. I used to like I used to like that movie Heavy Metal, funny, and then later seeing through all of that ridiculous deception and seeing the shenanigans of, well, the car in so-called space with the so-called dude in it, just like the Heavy Metal movie, and the green orb of the Heavy Metal movie, the Lochnar thing that made everyone fight like ridiculous animalistic fools over this dark power that made war happen. Is that what's coming? Is it because is it because of all this darkness and how it's been pushed energetically into the populace? Is that what it is? Have they indeed finally been able to manifest something that they portrayed over and over like that on that scale? Is that what's going on? And if so, well, if we can't fix the impossibility, which in my opinion should have been an impossibility for this deception to have been built, for it to have been built the way it's been built, and for it to have been perpetuated for this length of time without being noticed by so many more, then I don't know. Maybe the energy of this green energy of this comet maybe isn't that green energy of care and of heart and of earth. Maybe this green energy that's coming in is like they term it the Hulk, and maybe it is some kind of rage energy, or that's just how it'll be twisted. Because when you live in the past constantly or in the future constantly, but not in the present moment and not energetically connected to life, your own especially, and have complete control of your own thoughts and your own feelings, and you're run by fake emotion, well, something coming in just with that color, just the way it's been portrayed and just the way it's been beat into the psyche, well, if your psyche's in mirror mode, inversion mode, it might trigger some false emotion of rage, which should have never been there. It's just maybe probably a fake interpretation of the energy coming in. And that very well could be it too. It very well could be a good energy that is misconstrued and misfelt and misperceived by the so many that are so deeply under the mind control that they perceive it differently, and they go into a fit of rage because that's what they've been trained to do. And they've already been divided, so completely divided and fractured their own psyche and their own ideas of what they even are, let alone what everyone else or anything else is out there. Labels aside, then they only get more confused. Well, I don't know. But folks have been programmed to trigger easily, I see now. Because I see how I triggered so easily in the past when I was in that constant reactive state of fight or flight, of thoughts of in the past or in the future, or trying to remember something stored away to repeat back in a situation where I needed it, instead of being able to have everything that I needed all tied together within me already like it should have been. But I was too fractured inside. That was insured of like it was for the majority of us, which to me is why this reality should be an absolute now that I see it and feel it and for so long and can so easily read it and speak to it. It should be impossible. Should be impossible for the government, the religion, the education, the financial system, and the technology have been all built in such a way as to suppress and control the consciousness and feeling of all of us for generations, and then teach us to look to it to answer all our questions and go along with everything it says just because of the labels put on it, on all of these concepts, all of these outside concepts. It should, in my humble opinion, have been absolutely impossible for this to happen. Yet for 39 years, I thought it was absolutely normal. Through my narrow perception of the world and such a fractured psyche, which seemed to me an absolutely clear picture of my reality, that is so absolutely mind-boggling and scary to know that I existed in that state and that for generations, we as a species must have existed in that state. But for how long, I wonder? I don't know. That's what I wonder. And I also wonder, how then do we fix this impossibility when to me it seems so clear and so obvious that to fix all of these impossibilities, it's simple truth that does it. It's the truth of life itself in nature and natural law. So with it being that simple in me now, which for so long it was not, because it was not taught to be. It was taught purposefully to be muddled and fractured, as my own psyche was created to be after a while, being full of so much toxicity, toxic energies, toxic chemicals, toxic information, toxic programming. Yet everything it becomes so amazingly clear once you dump all that toxicity, clear it all out, reconnect from the inside with what's already there, and heal naturally, and come into alignment with nature naturally and learn from nature in a natural way. And whoa, it's a whole new ball game all of a sudden. Except none of this should have been a game in the first place, yet sure was set up to be. But by who, I wonder, or by what, I wonder. I don't know. I know that's above my it's above my place, so to speak. I know that. Still makes me wonder what comes next then. And it makes me wonder too, with these things and these disasters and like the hurricane coming in a few days, that big one, and the way it's being hyped up, and throw some sand in with it for better effect. You know what? I don't know what's going on. Could that thing sit there, and could that thing be the could that be the part of the spell of the ritual after all the fires and all the flooding? Could that be after those two pillars of fire and water? Is that the one that's going to sit on the country and cause destruction to hit and attack the heart, the feeling center once again? And is this the next just large, absolutely huge scale ritual happening? Is that what we're all witnessing? because it's all so ridiculous and set up in these layers of theater. That's all I can see nowadays is nothing but layers of theater. And then those within those layers of theater speak in half circles and half truths around these different layers of theater and then pointing the finger at other layers of the theater. Well, it all seems like just a big game being perpetuated while some of us sit here actually looking out going, when is this going to be fixed? How can we fix this? There's so many easily natural ways to go about things just by switching from unnatural to natural, just by switching from petroleum base to hemp base. Just so many simple things that could fix so many things all at once. Yet those in the positions within the theater and on the different rungs in the theater, the different layers of the same control system, those folk, for some reason, still think it's only about this material, what you can grab and what you can hold on to. You didn't come with, you're not going to leave with anything but the experience you gain here. The only experience you gain here is how much material crap you can grab and how much suffering you can cause. Then you haven't learned anything in this experience yet. You haven't even started. And I only say that because I realize that at my age, after retiring from a so-called career, I realized I hadn't even started that all that time. I was one of the unbegun, so to speak, had not even begun my spiritual journey. So I had to start that while trying to put back together, a totally, absolutely fractured mental and physical journey that I had taken up to that point. Let me tell you, that's something. That was tough. That was tough and so absolutely necessary for me to now become what I am now, who I am now, which is not what I was, is absolutely not what I was. Looking back, I don't know exactly what I could call that other than some kind of shell of a life, some kind of half-life, some kind of life of the living dead before I was written into the book of life, so to speak, in all manner and respects, and not written into some book by some individual man or woman, not written into one of those ridiculous books, because I see as well that's part of this whole thing too, with the paperwork and the different things and how sovereign this and sovereign that. Yes, we are all sovereign energy. And you know what? There is no way, there is no reason, or you don't write yourself out of a system that's already written full of nonsense. It's all that nonsense that's the problem. Yet folk keep writing nonsense, thinking other folk should just listen to them. Well, it's all broken. So to write something, no matter how in line with truth, no matter how in line with whatever, it's not going to change anything in the eyes of a system, that has no eyes of its own, because it's only an entity. It has no eyes except for the eyes of the individuals that are still enslaved within that system, that still are under the false belief that these systems are real and they're not really causing harm, and they're only there to protect. Nah. So then I wonder where from here, because if that because if that consciousness and that feeling don't expand to that point with on all the individuals at once within those systems, well, how do you fix an impossible system then? If you got folk that are going to keep running it because it's running them, well, man, that's the conundrum. It's a bit of a dilemma we find ourselves, it seems, or I find myself, it seems. which still makes me wonder, yeah, so what is really real and what's not? Because it is absolutely unreal that all of these layers of deception should have been allowed to exist for, I mean, even the period of my own life. I mean, to speak nothing of a history I can't speak to. Even the period of my own life looking back, I figure, holy cow, how could this have not all been caught on to and someone been the one letting me know about all these things? Of course, there were others that already knew about these things. I just didn't happen to hear them. Which is, yeah, just again, it's odd how whatever this is playing out. Does make me wonder. Yeah. Hmm. I've seen so much crazy stuff in the sky too lately. Oh, not just me, family too. It was kind of funny the other day. We're standing out here, out in the front. It was uh, maybe about 7 in the evening, and I saw something in the sky, and my wife saw it, my son saw it, and it was something very large, moving very slow at a rate that would look too slow for something of its size in relative comparison to where it would be, it seems to me, which, so the size, the shape, the speed, none of it matched to me what I was looking at with anything I had ever seen. I've seen quite a few different things, aircraft and this and that and the other, and along with other things other than that in the sky. But yeah, that was what was even funnier about that one is that my wife was recording it on her phone while we were watching it and had it on her phone. And then after probably about, it might have been a good couple minutes of watching it and recording, or her recording, her phone shut off. Her phone shut off and the recording was gone. She told us both right at the time, and just, yeah, I thought, yeah, it figures. I guess that wasn't supposed to be recorded yet. Maybe they don't want that one out there, whatever that was. The things just seem par for the course nowadays, like moment by moment with these kinds of things. Of course, the Facebook accounts, which I hate that whole. I know what that old thing is to the depths. I get it, but trying to use it to try and get some truth out, yeah, and then that got the old clamp down. Mine, my son, my wife's, all kind of crazy stuff. Yeah, of course. It's a continuous thing, isn't it? It sure is. Oh boy. That was something I was saying earlier. Yeah, because I got to chuckle a little bit because none of it's funny, boy, I tell you. It's funny. I was saying it sucks to have to be the one of the ones anyway that are pointing out some of these things like this and having to do it so directly because I know how painful it is to hear these things and these, well, not these things that I said just now earlier, but other things I've said. I know, I know how the truth of being lied to and being deceived, how it hurts to hear, and in a way, it sucks to have to be someone that says it, especially, what I mean, there's no especially for me, but for me, and maybe it's part of why I was so long in my experience, I never wanted to be like that full-blown adult. I never did. I wanted to enjoy life. I wanted to be kind of irresponsible, and that might be part of the very reason why I never saw any of these things until I did. I don't know, but for me, for me now to know these things and to be able to formulate the words in such a way as to put them out like this, then yeah, I feel that obligation. Oh yeah, thank you, thank you. Uh, nice fire. Yeah, I missed the other comment. Oh, there it is. Once you become aware fully of the truth and the manipulators you realize. Yep, yep, and that's the thing. And I feel like, you know what? Now it's an obligation, and now unfortunately I have to try and like play this adult role in this life, and then and tell folk these things, like folk that I care and I want to help, but I gotta say these things that are gonna hurt, and it sucks. Cause I'd rather be the whole childish laughing, like let's have some. I mean, I would rather be past it all by now, all of us already, to be honest, and just be able to all be laughing about it already. But I know that's a long, I don't want to say a long time in coming, because I get that whole manipulation of concept of things too. The whole, now I don't even go there, but I know there sure is a lot of healing that needs to take place. I know that. And that's the thing. And for me, that cannabis oil that I make that I make on my own, I'm convinced everyone should be making that and consuming that plant, and in such a way, to me that, and not as a crutch, but to me that is such an absolutely amazing natural medicine that has done so much healing within me, to the point of actual cell regeneration. So much sickness cured. Oh, it's ridiculous, the laundry list of sicknesses, and just in me, that has been cured. Physical, mental, and otherwise. Like really, it's amazing. Along with just the nourishment of just consuming the plant as just a source of nourishment, of food, of actual food. It's, oh boy. And I get why that was so demonized and hidden, and I get it, because to me that is also the medicine for consciousness, as the medicine to come out of the mind control and to help heal that damage of, uh, for both the mind and the heart, for the reason and the feeling, for that empathetic connection that seems to have been cut off so deeply within folk, to get them to a place to where they just be divided and just attack each other almost on command nowadays, with the right word or label. It's almost like the matador at one of those sick bullfighting things. But now they got folk into that mental state almost to where they flash a red cape or flash a red image, maybe a loud sound accompanying it, and they can actually cause the heart to flutter in a grown man or woman, make it skip a beat, because it's been programmed so in depth to a Pavlovian level of reaction. And that's the reactionary state that they want folks stuck in, to stay trapped in, so they can't feel their way out of the deception. Because you don't even have to see it. You don't even have to be able to read it. You don't have to know any of the symbolism. You don't have to know any of it. You can feel your way out. You can feel the brokenness in things if you just calm down and let yourself slow down enough to feel the feelings inside and beneath those feelings, and what's deeper. What else is there? What's been cut off? What's been put away? What's hidden away? What has to be dealt with? What has to be energetically lined back up to be in tune with nature, energy, the energy inside, so it can resonate with the energy without, so it can see, so it can feel, so it can naturally move throughout this place in a natural state of being able to analyze and reason things out without the hindrance of fake emotion creeping in, because the feeling center is so nice and secure in itself that it resonates so strongly in care and in truth, That there is no room for fear there anymore? None at all. I don't know. How do we do this on a large mass scale? I don't know. That's what I wonder. So what I wonder is that what's going on? Is that what we're seeing? Is that what I keep seeing? Is that what we're we're all feeling in our own ways? I do hope so. I really do. Yep. I guess I'll just let this run a little bit. Put some more wood on here. Maybe something come to me to yammer about a little bit more. I'm sure. Yeah. Mm. 33, 33. Well, that'd be like 3 11s and 3 11s, wouldn't it? That'd be a whole bunch of 11s. 6 of them. Uh-oh. Oh, then that could get into someone saying, uh-oh, saying crazy devil numbers. Oh, you know what? Which I'm not. Anyway, I know better than that. Ridiculous. Okay, anyway. Yeah, I was thinking, I saw something earlier. It was funny the way things pop up. Not funny, but synchronistic. Uh, greatest audiobooks channel. Something popped up about Custer and Battle of Little Bighorn, which to me, yeah, to me it relates. I mean, so many things with those type of things relate directly to my experience here, and that's just something else that I saw was talking about. Maybe a little bit before, but yeah, while I was in the army, I was in that unit that was Custer's, the Seventh Cavalry. Three different units within the Seventh Cavalry. in different times in my career. 2 7 3 7 and 5 7. So there's 3 7s right there. There's a bunch of sevens. There's more number stuff, and it's just another thing that kind of, well, synchronistically ties together to so many other things that, yeah, with this experience, and then the being in that and realizing then later after that, what was done and how this whole place was built on the suffering it was built on. And yeah, and then actually being a part of that same unit, the 7th Cavalry, that had earlier done, so much damage to folk that live here. We're trying to just live here, and it's so it's just another thing, that lines up from my past experience, and then looking at the whole, it seems, generational past experience of folk here, that where I go, like, how could this have continued, and how could I have played along for as long as I did? I don't know. That was just something else. And I sure am trying now, especially to try and put some of that type of stuff right. You know what? And I'm not. That's what's funny. I'm not in a position to do it. I'm not. Well, except from here, just I've seen these. I've seen profound effect come from just speaking truth. I've seen it and felt it. However, I'm not one of those folks that's in one of these positions of mass influence or of mass resource that could actually get this kind of stuff out to, with a quickness, along with the right steps, how to heal, the right way to do things in a natural way so we could get past things. Which kind of leaves me in this whole weird conundrum of, yeah, what the heck is this reality really then? And how could it have gone on so long? And why the heck can I see it? Well, I get it. I get the whole, it's all, whatever. I don't get it. It's all theater. And that's what's so impossible about it. Yep. So it makes me wonder, what's next? What's the next stage? What's the next part of this? Because I'm ready for it. And it can't get here soon enough. In a good way. Because, yeah, this stuff as it stands now, it's way too broken. And possibly so. Mm, 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 mm. I heard something about a vision too. I won't tell you. I won't tell you who from or anything. It's not from me. Heard something about a vision though of a helicopter landing and someone getting out saying something to this effect. Something like, "You folk." Well, actually, no, by name, like LaPlante family, like your family, LaPlante family, something like that. Let's go. It's time. What's coming isn't what you thought it was. We have to leave, something like that. And then being taken from here up to a perspective of to where looking down could see like a whole map as a strip of land, a long strip of land with then a long strip of water, and then being set over onto another long strip of land that looked like another map, but as in kind of like another, like a reflection of a reflection of a reflection, or another, rough, yeah, I won't keep going with it, but something along that perspective of there was an infinite line of these lands and moving on to the next one. As the one we were leaving from collapsed, so to speak, like grid collapsing, or whatever, stuff falling apart. And moving on to one of nature, of nothing but nature, to restart, rebuild in a right, correct, moral way with nature. That type of thing. Which, when I heard that, I thought, wow, you know what? That sounds pretty kind of in line with other things I've kind of myself envisioned, so to speak, for a while. Or maybe not that exact type of picture, but that whole overarching type of thing. Thought that was real interesting to hear today, because I figure, why not? Nowadays, who knows? That's something else I was considering as well. Uh, Kind of a hard one, but to me now, the impossibility of this place is indeed impossible, because all these layers of deception, the government, the education, the financial, the technology, all the way, everything, all the way around, the way it's set up, the way it's been taught, the way it is being acted out repetitively. It seems to me they whoever they are with this place, how it's been created, it has indeed been turned into a hell on earth, a hell of enslavement of mind, body, and spirit under all these different labels and systems. So it makes me wonder if it's that impossibly broken, and those within those systems are so impossibly broken that if even chance came for them to put it all right, might they refuse it, and we may not be able to pull out of this altogether? Could that be going on? Is it that some folk will end up being separated to start this whole thing anew, but that it will only be folk that have come past and healed from those false beliefs? Is it Will it be something like that, where it will only be folk that are fully aware and keyed into their own consciousness, to the point of being able to put words to every thought and feeling within energetically, and being able to explain the interconnectedness of themselves to others, and to teach and help others heal and get to that point? Would there be a separation of those kind of folk from the folks that are still trapped in false belief, that don't want help, that would refuse help, that would attack help, or would attack truth when truth was presented? Would they be left to fend for themselves in what they have been taught to think that they want, and to pull that darkness in faster and faster at them? And are they going to be left to forced to deal with that because they can't be saved, because they're too far gone, because they're too lost? I don't know. I would hope not, but looking out nowadays, it's a distinct possibility, I'd say. Because how could you restart? How could you rebuild? How do we rebuild everything that needs to be rebuilt if you still have folk that are under that control of want, the control of want for what's not needed, that control of, or that want of control, that want of just the want of control of others? I don't know. Those kind of folk, it seems, have built all these different systems and have just called it different labels of things, and then taught it in different ways to each other, in a whole bunch of I don't know. It's all ridiculous. It's all a huge, big game set up. Just, different. I've said this same thing, and I guess some things bear repeating because just because the state of the hell of this place, I guess, under all the deception has been nothing but repetition, it seems to me. The more and more I look and the more and more I feel, and the more it goes on day to day, moment to moment. Yep, just seems more and more of the same. Except not in a good way. More and more groups popping up to fight, more and more groups that are made up. More and more sicknesses popping up because more and more news articles pop up with more and more mind control, with more and more let's feed dark energy into this society of beings because they're unaware of what's going on right now until we push them into this state of continuous madness. And we'll just keep driving the madness. And we'll get them to worship us while they look at us on the TV screen, and we'll suck their soul away and their life energy as we dance and sing around and we flash all these symbols at them, as we may as well be just flipping them all the middle finger, which we do all the time, yet they can't see it. They can't see it as we laugh at them. Not that I'm trying to speak for them, I would never. This whole system this whole system, disgusting system of minstrels and bards and narcissistic psychopaths is absolutely disgusting. System upon system upon system of nothing but belief. That's not knowing, that's not knowledge, and that damn sure isn't wisdom. So a whole society of living, breathing, what look what looked to be like human beings have turned into parrots of other people's crap, repeating, parroting all their junk and nonsense over and over like we were trained to do, like I was trained to do, like I fell into with the rest until I broke myself out of it or something broke me out of it. Till my till my heart about stopped or whatever. Did a couple times. I don't know. I was a mess. But that's what I mean. It doesn't take getting to that point. I know it doesn't, of health and suppression and suppressed health and spirit and mind to the point of crashing like that, to be able to then pull out of this internal pit of hell that had been created inside, to see reality for what it is and to see what a deceptive pit of hell that's been turned into because it's all nonsense. Oh, it can be done so much easier with the right words and with the right actions taken and with getting the toxins out and changing of diet and just getting good water in, good plant material in as fuel in the body for the mind, for the consciousness that's not dead sentient energy being consumed, because that's not very helpful when you're trying to work on your consciousness in connection with feeling with life itself. It doesn't help to be eating what should be considered your fellow life here. Uh, Not to be all judgy or anything. Some I just feel real deeply, and something I know from wisdom, because that's the whole. It goes with the whole do no harm type of thing. It gets to be that simple when you can look at it that simple. Like we were supposed to be taught as kids, that whole golden rule: do unto others as they would do unto you. Except then later it turns into those with the go make the rules or whatever they say. It's all ridiculous nonsense. When you start out as a kid being told, keep your hands to yourself, you don't want to be hurting others and keep your hands to yourself. But then as an adult, you go out and you get hired for a fake ass paycheck, a fake currency system exchange of energy to do what? Well, to put your hands on other folks because someone told you to. What? Well, that's broken and backwards, ain't it? Now that I think about it, yeah, it is. And I did think about that very deeply, and it hurt me very deeply when I realized, yeah, that's how we been tricked. You get taught and told one way to do things, and then you get actually encouraged to do the very thing that you know to be wrong, but then to justify it in some form or fashion into why it's right when it's not right. It was wrong all along and it was known all along. At least on the inside it was known. And that's why folk get to this point of where they're starting to swell up so bad from all the toxins and all the negative energy that they've suppressed and all the wrong that they won't go in and deal with and won't because they won't take that full admittance it takes inside to go, yeah, I've been tricked. I've been tricked on all this stuff. On absolutely all these different aspects of things. Yep, I was wrong and I acted on them out of belief when I didn't know better. And yep, I did those and I take full responsibility for all my actions now. And oh, geez, maybe I should go deeper. Maybe I should consider the ripple effects of everything. I don't know. I did that. I considered what if I'm the reason for this whole place? What if I'm the reason that everyone else is suffering because only I had to learn these lessons that I was too ridiculously stubborn or hypnotized or whatever to learn? Maybe I was the reason. What if I was that darkness that was the cause of all of this? In which, you know what? I still can't know that for sure. I can't know anything for sure like that. All I can tell is just, I was born and then here I am. Anything other than that, I can't really say for sure. But I've considered it and I still wonder sometimes because I don't see how all of this could still be happening. I don't. I don't see how it could have happened, like I said, even just during the course of my own life. Why all these things weren't being. I get it. But I don't get it. It's all so clear, yet also nonsensical. Well, I do know, though, I do know the magic in those words of truth, and that they do indeed get in. They get in through the defenses, through the trigger mechanisms set up by those dark occultists through the education system and the so-called entertainment system and the programming system upon system upon system. Truth gets right through, right to the core, right to the heart, because that's where it comes from and that's where it's felt. And that's what can't be stopped, and that's what they're trying to stop. So that's what makes me wonder what next. Because as more and more feel this and speak like this and speak from this place that they can speak from, that they'll find inside, we all have that ability, that and much, 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 much more. Infinitely more. Infinitely more than what we've been taught by them, they. So don't even go there with the belief, I say. Don't look outward, look inward. Look inward, stay inward until you lock inside yourself and you get full control of yourself. The overarching control of now you're in control of the entirety of your energy of your being. Then get all the understanding, and overstanding that comes with that and that goes with that, and then make sure that that is right in line with truth of natural law, cosmic law, the creator's law, creation itself, life itself. Well, then everything from that point on, good luck to you because it's a absolutely crazy place to be in, which I know a lot of folk already know and been knowing way before I knew. Because, yep, once you fully get there and you're fully there talking and speaking it openly from the heart as it flows, as it goes, letting it come and just putting it out, that's the magic that'll change this world. The magic and the power of language used correctly with with the intent to help, and only to help with no agenda but to help. Oh, there we go. Said I was live, cut out. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna turn the camera back around. Yep. I think. See, I know I was saying all that stuff about the magic of language and the truth and language of the heart and truth. And yeah, speaking that language that'll fix this place. That power is there in all of us. It is. Once you find it. And then the stream cut out. And I think I got a little bit truthy with the truth on YouTube. And it was like, whoa, it's too much, man. That is the truth, though. You know, be able to speak that place from a point of truth, just knowing the truth of nature, that it's not right to cause harm, and then seeing how things are set up so backwards to cause harm, and how much harm has actually been caused, and then, whoa, the amount of harm the individual has to actually heal from. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. Taught to eat the wrong things, taught to drink the wrong things, taught to think the wrong things, and then shown the wrong things over and over and over again as if it's entertainment to make it funny, when it drives all this incorrect, immoral thought, behavior, and action. It's really crazy. It's a crazy mess to heal from. But it's an absolute, I think, necessity for us to evolve, to take full responsibility of our own energy, to evolve it, to evolve our own life, our own experience, our own perception, our own consciousness, our own feeling. Because evolution isn't some crap that takes millions of years, I came to find out, because I really and truly almost ended up, probably by now, almost with, you know, a pretty much healed, functional, I mean, almost all the way body, from being almost dead. And it took about 2.5 years to get to this point, but the healing was it was quick, it was rapid, and it was constant progress without any ridiculous shortcuts of pills and this and that and other crap. None of that. That's all bogus. It's all unnatural. Just to go with just straight plant material, cannabis oil, I was infusing in water, like, along with the fasting at first to clean out my insides and this and that. But my body now functions in a way that I never realized was a possibility before. So does my mind. So does my spirit, which is something else that just became very, very, very real, and just more and more and more potent over time. Not joking, when for so long I didn't even know it was a real thing. So I hope other folk key in onto that soon. Their own something, their own meaning for this, their own meaning for their own experience, to find the truth inside themselves, that is their own energy, their own infinite energy inside. It's all connected and synced up. It can be. It's trying to be. It takes effort. It takes individual internal effort to do it. To go inside one's own mind, one's own consciousness, one's own logic and creativity, and one's own feeling and one's own empathy. And really feel it, really feel those resonance, really put it together, really build it, really continuously refine it, and speak on it, and help others do the same, I figure. That's all I'm trying. So I'm going to stop this. I'm going to stop this for now. I'm starting to just kind of stare and zone out a little bit, so looking at the fire. It's about to be a bunch of ones on the screen. So, all right, Dan, thanks for listening.